Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
And today, it's the films of John Carpenter. We're going to go through his entire filmography. Now, full confession, some of these films I haven't seen. A few of them I haven't seen recently. And I mean, when I say recently, I mean within the last couple years. I've been trying to get really good with memorizing movies. So, again, I talk about this process a lot on this podcast, but I try and know a movie, know it all the way through. I got a couple different techniques for this. I got a couple different tricks, or just the film buff way of not only discovering a movie, but fully comprehending it. Here's the cool thing. Often when I do a retrospective of someone's filmography like this, it opens up a lot of doorways for me. There's things I want to just go back. I mean, for a quick example, there is no time that I don't think about John Carpenter when I don't want to watch Christine, the Stephen King adaptation. At one time, I consider Christine Stephen King's best adaptation, and it's still pretty up there. But the cool thing, when we discuss the career of John Carpenter, when you're my age, you grew up around this time where it felt like he was discovered. It's not that he had arrived, but you discovered John Carpenter, and then you realized how rich of a filmography he has, and then you compare it to some of his contemporaries: James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, Scorsese, Coppola. And he's kind of always left out of the filmmakers of the 70s for whatever reason. All the people I just named, they're like the bulls of 70s filmmaking. They put Steven Spielberg right in there, right? You put Steven Spielberg late 70s, same as Carpenter, same as George Lucas. I'm glancing at his filmography now, and I will say there's maybe 2 movies that I can't fully speak of that I know I've seen, and there's one I know I haven't seen. Isn't that great? So that's we're doing pretty good here, guys. So let's go. 1974. The order of some of these too should surprise you. Stay tuned. Check it. Check it out with me. Dark Star, independent science fiction. Bruce Stern, amazing in Dark Star. Dane Bannon. The crew for Dark Star went on to produce Alien. This is somewhat of the same. So there's this idea about industrial light and magic. George Lucas, Star Wars. And they had to keep the special effects going. They couldn't break up the crew. They were developing new techniques. And that's the birth of industrial light and magic, is to do the work, keep the crew together between Star Wars movies. And they became an institution through that. Now, they would always cycle back to the Star Wars movies and now like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but industrial light and magic would have to, in a way, it's a company with the sense of maintaining the ship. We need projects to maintain the ship. The crew for Dark Star didn't do that. They just would go from one project to the next. So some of it was like Roger Corman, some of it was, and in the case of Alien, Ridley Scott and Fox. Dark Star, when it comes to independent filmmaking, is absolutely there. Dark Star, one of the best independent science fiction movies, even in today's high-tech age. 1976, Assault on Precinct 13. Now, we also have to get into how many of these movies have been remade or attempted to. Almost all of them, which is nuts. Assault on Precinct 13. One of the best dystopian
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production,
Let
take
me
2.
cut in. Sorry, AKAPADers. I know it's such a hot, passionate episode, but I'm breaking the flow real quick just to remind you guys. If you want to support me, one of the best, easiest, and free ways to do it, leave a comment. Give me a like. I know there's someone out there that you know that loves film as much as I do, that love the film industry as much as I. Show this to them. Comments, likes, and reviews, positive or negative, it doesn't matter. We need to increase our reach, and to do that requires your involvement in everything that I do. We're linked. We're forever bound. You're the membrane. I'm the muscle. So guys, let's just do it. One review. Do you have it in you? Okay. Movies. Back to a lot of people would compare this to Dawn of the Dead. I prefer Assault on Precinct 13 over Dawn of the Dead. I think Assault on Precinct 13 is just a raw, nerve-wracking experience. We have police officers that are held up and they're just being attacked. It's almost like the Alamo. 1978, Halloween. Do we need to? So we're not even out of the 70s yet, and he has 3 solid independent movies. But Halloween, and then Halloween later becomes one of the biggest independent movies of all time. Need we say anything more about Halloween? 1980, The Fog, Jamie Lee Curtis. This one's been remade. So I believe Assault on Precinct 13's been remade. So of his first 4 movies, 3 of them have been remade. The Fog is awesome. I remember watching this as a kid, and very similar to my Tron experience. I remember trying to watch it on TV with my mother, and the creatures kind of coming through the fog, and like that impending doom. Such a great hook too, by the way. Like great. We've talked about The Fog before, because at one time The Fog was my bucket list movie because of that. Because I didn't fully experience the movie as an adult, but it freaked me out when I was younger. One of my absolute favorites, Escape from New York. Now, I was there in the theaters when the sequel came out, Escape from LA, thinking it was going to be that's 1996. And having the absolute bitter disappointment of Escape from LA. I remember talking up that movie with my buddy Rob, and we were kids. We would get dropped off at the mall. We would go catch a movie, go to Chi-Chi's. That was our Saturdays and Friday nights until we got our licenses. And Rob leans over and just says, "This movie sucks." And I'm just like, yeah, I couldn't. I mean, Kurt Russell with the surfing scene in Escape from LA, but Escape from New York, absolutely there. Love it. Love the basketball scene. Still one of the best. Wild movie. Great. And again, you kind of want to say, why was that not remade? The Thing, what someone remade, someone gets a prequel. The Thing, one of the best body horror movies of all time, even to this day. I love it when people compare it to The Substance, and you just want to say, nah. I mean, the lighting, the cinematography, the flares, the snow. We see Aliens vs Predator. We see the Thing influence right injected into that movie. 1983, as I've already mentioned, Christine, one of the best Stephen King adaptations. My favorite, one of my favorite scenes, I think, in all the movies, where the kid's being bullied and they mess up his car, and this is after he's connected with the car, and the car is he has this visceral connection to it. So in the way, when the bullies violate the car, they're violating our protagonist. It's code, right? But then he knows there's something with the car, so he's in front of it at the garage, and he goes, "Talk to me," or he says something like, "Show me." In the car, the headlights, it's just like this. Pew! He's silhouetted, and the car just reforms itself into like perfect showroom glory. It's one of the absolute best scenes that he's ever touched, that anyone's ever touched. 1984, Jeff Bridges, Starman. Great movie to pair this with would be K-Pax with Kevin Spacey. Again, like different subject matter. He's deviating. Up until Starman, like he's still doing genre. He's still doing horror. He's still doing sci-fi. But he's 10 years in. 10 years in, he's got Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, Christine, Starman. Not one bad movie in that batch. And then in 1986, a film that I had on VHS repeat, I'm sure many of you have as well, Big Trouble in Little China. Every time I see Raiden from Mortal Kombat, I think of Big Trouble in Little China. We all know that influence. Big Trouble in Little China too. I always liked it at the end where that cross-eyed weird creature was revealed to be like on Jack's big rig. I just would watch it for that because I thought that was like the silliest, goofiest thing. And now it's like I don't even care about that. I mean, there's so many of these other elements. The whole thing with Kurt Russell and like the girl and him like almost like journeying. He's almost like Homer. It's like Homer's Odyssey. He's journeying into the unknown to get this girl, to rescue this girl. Another great movie to pair this with would be Flash Gordon. A very like the two characters, Kurt Russell and Flash Gordon, very similar towards women. They're there to save the chick, to do whatever it's necessary to make sure that girl's like not in harm. Really good stuff, and stuff that kind of would be rejected nowadays. This is our first misfire, 1987, The Prince of Darkness, which is the first of two Lovecraftian stories. Now, a lot of people say The Thing technically also could qualify as Lovecraftian because it is somewhat of a cosmic horror movie. The Prince of Darkness, I believe, same Neil. I can't speak. I don't even know. I can't even speak on what the plot is. 1988. So many people attribute They Live to way earlier in Carpenter's career. We want to say it's almost like at the middle, and it's also at the middle tail end of his career. They Live might be his last great impactful movie. We all know it. It's been lampooned on South Park. We know Roddy Piper. We know that I like to kick ass and chew gum, and I'm all out of gum. They Live too. The iconic elements of this movie, all of it, still relevant to this day. It is a memed movie. It will be memed into relevance, or it will never fall out of relevance because it's such a meme-worthy movie. 1992. I would say at one time in my life, Chevy Chase. Again, like Carpenter's trying to branch out a little bit here. Memoirs of a Invisible Man. I just remember seeing this movie so much on HBO. Just watching this movie a lot. I liked this movie. Before I even knew who John Carpenter was, I think this is maybe his most underrated film in the entire stack. It's still one of the best Invisible Man movies, period. At this point, too, we would later get Hollow Man with Paul Verhoeven to, again, reintroduce the world to Invisible Man. And recently we had Invisible Man from Blumhouse, where the guy's wearing the tech suit. 1994, In the Mouth of Madness, another Lovecraftian story. I cannot speak on In the Mouth of Madness. 1995, the guy who's infinitely remakes Village of the Damned. This is one hell of a remake. It's one of the best horror remakes. One of the best casts. It's got Christy Alley, who I absolutely love. Top-notch remake. 96, we already spoke about it. Oh my, Escape from LA. But 2 years later, I remember my buddy Rob and I. So we watched like Vampires, and I remember seeing, I would have to double check, but I think Vampires got released in theaters around the same time, or From Dusk Till Dawn. I recently been watching and rewatching From Dusk Till Dawn, and holy crap, why did I not know how horrific the beginning of that movie is? Like before it turns into the vampire kill fest. Vampires, James Woods, solid flick. No, you compare this with Dusk Till Dawn or Near Dark. Watch all three as a like South Texas vampire trilogy. 2001. Ghosts of Mars, attributed to the film that got Carpenter out of filmmaking. I think there's, I don't know, a couple of things with this production that just seems to have broken him. I don't know. I've seen it a couple times. Yeah, it's serviceable. It's exactly as it sounds. There's people on Mars, and there's ghosts from, I think, a mining colony that got caved in, which is somewhat allegorical to stuff in the U.S. And then, here we go. 2010. This is the one I haven't seen, though. The Ward. Takes him 9 years. 9 years between two movies. And when we look at The Ward, I know the poster. $10 million off the budget of budget is $10 million off of $5.3 million. Where's Ghost of Mars? Ghost of Mars costs $28 million, brings in 14. So he's just like losing money. Vampires 2020. Escape from LA. Wow, 50-42. So it's, like if we really go through the money, like Village of the Damned, 22.9. Well, so he 96. So 95. So In the Mouth of Madness. Wow. Yeah. 8 and 8. Invisible Man. Chevy Chase. 30-40 brings in 14. So you have to say he develops a bad name. They Live. Costs $3 million, makes 13. That's good money. So off the strength of They Live, right? He gets invited into Hollywood. Prince of Darkness and They Live were Carloke Pictures in conjunction with Universal. I mean, he's had partners before, but you really want to say from 92, it's Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, Universal, Paramount, Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures. I mean, he gets the full on. Where's Halloween? Halloween costs $300,000 and it makes $70 million. That's enough, but not like, again, not every single Big Trouble Little China, 25 million, 11. I mean, he's not a money-making filmmaker. I never really realized this. Prince of Darkness cost $3 million, made $14 million. That's good. I gotta watch Prince, and I have to watch In the Mouth of Madness. I gotta watch both of these. I pair like In the Mouth of Madness with like Jacob's Ladder. It was like Jacob's Ladder, In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness, all kind of the same movie. But yeah, here we go. The John Carpenter filmography, AKAPAD. I love these episodes. I love just going through a big list with you guys.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production, take 2.
Let's take this time real quick, AKAPADers, my fellow film buffers, and let's just go over the schedule. This is years in the making. This type of rollout I've been planning for years, but we're finally here. So here we go. Early in the morning, that's the new stuff. 8 a.m. Now, 8 p.m., Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, these are movies maybe of something coming out. Like if there's a Marvel movie coming out and we want to do a retrospective on that particular franchise, or if Sylvester Stallone comes back and gives us Rocky Part 18, we might want to use the later time slots for a week or two to go over all of the Rocky movies. Now, we have a lot of different threads on this podcast, that's explored 8 p.m. So 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Wednesdays at 8 p.m., this is our creator spotlight. We could do an episode on Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, some of the new guys, Spike Lee, even composers, guys like John Williams. This brings us into the weekend. Saturday, Sunday morning. Again, we're back at that 8 a.m. drop. We do cartoons because I want to emulate the times where you would wake up with a bowl of cereal and watch cartoons all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and then eventually you would get to touch grass because you would have one of your friends knocking on your door to play in a touch football game or even some baseball, basketball. The weekend nights, let's get into education. 8 p.m. Again, all of our drops are either 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. But the weekend nights, documentaries, and I focus on creative documentaries because I feel like a part of this film buff movement that we're all bathing in, that I'm super grateful for, is education. And some of where we're finding our facts, some of the, general enjoyment, because I love documentaries. All of this is explored at 8 o'clock p.m. And trust me, there's a lot there. There's a lot out there that I didn't even know existed. And we're going to go beyond that too. We're going to get into some of the graphic art, some of the special effects, some of the makeup documentaries. There's a lot to learn, and I'm so happy to bring you the 9 p.m. because you guys know I'm an autodidact. I am self-educated. Sure, I have some certifications. Sure, I spent time at the Art Institute of Philadelphia for animation. But in large, I'm a self-educated, self-made person that's connected to the weekend 8 p.m. drops. My AKAPADers, my film buffers, I hope to see you there for all of it. I love you guys, and rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.